It's about time, isn't it, that we unpack the exclusive to Midway USA CPM 3V version of the Cold Steel SRK compact. The compact version of iconic, or legendary is not even the right word, I don't even know, Titanic SRK, the blade that has been around forever, that has so many variants now. This is a 3V version of the full size, Italian made. They don't make them over there anymore. That was for a short period of time, and man, am I glad I scored one, and you can't pry this out of my cold dead hands. But I don't talk about the SRK series that much, and there's some reasons for that we'll unpack in this video, maybe in a follow-up video here coming in about a week, where we're going to discuss similar style blades. And I reviewed the original SRK compact design years and years ago. I'll try and link that video. And basically what I said was there were some great aspects. There were some aspects that I preferred in the full size. And we're going to see if that still holds true or not with the 3V version. Now, as I said, this is exclusive only to Midway. I've had my eye on it for a long time. They're normally $100, so value is bonkers. Right now they're 90 bucks. Midway did not pay or sponsor this video in any way. I hit them up, I was like, hey, can I get a sample? And I have an affiliate link, so I'll have that popping up in the description box below. So if you decide that you like green, I believe they have this, or they have black, and I think they have one other color, maybe two other colors floating around. I mean, for value, for 3V, you're in Taiwanese made, you're not going to find anything even close. I mean, as an example, here is the recently released SOG, owned by the same parent company, Taiwanese 3V. This is the Hidaka FX. We're going to get to that. Thicker stock and like way crazier, but $300 MSRP, 3 times the price for the same 3V steel. So, I mean, you're getting bonkers value, but it's not all perfect. And there's a change that apparently Cold Steel has done based off of user feedback that is either going to be a huge win or a total miss, depending on where you sit. First and foremost, we'd have to look just at overall blade performance. CPM 3V steel, when it came on the scene, man, was I stoked for it. Still, I would argue probably the best impact steel around, if you were to ask me, like as an all-around rounded steel. Holds better edge than like 1095, 5160, that type of stuff. It's pretty rust resistant. It's technically not a stainless steel, but it's very rust resistant. That's why they can uncoat this, which is awesome. And it's super tough. And this thing, just thumping on it, pounding on it, no chips, no damage, no issues whatsoever. This thing is a bear, and I would argue more durable than the SK5 version. I actually have snapped some tips on certain SK5 steel versions because I think Cold Steel brings that up pretty high on the HRC, which means that they hold the edge, but they're kind of brittle. This thing, no issues, you know, stabbing, prying. I was side splitting, hacking, doing all kinds of stuff, anything I could come up with, and the edge is holding up really well, and just the overall design is doing exactly what you want. Now, some benefits: 90-degree spine, so it'll absolutely launch sparks, get a fire going easily. So if you wanted to use this as an emergency survival kit tool, I argue it would absolutely be able to do that. They do have a pretty flat swedge, you know, it's not tapered super tight, so you can put a little bit of pressure. It's not a bushcraft knife by any means, and that's definitely the first thing you need to note. If you're looking for something to just like make a giant bundle of fuzz sticks just for the heck of it and do some different things like that, the blade, along with the handle that we'll talk about a little later, just doesn't really fit for me. It doesn't work for me in that category. It doesn't do what I want it to do. But because it's 0.16 on the stock thickness and it has 0.7 grind height on that flat grind, means that it has better edge geometry than its, I got 1,000 blades floating around, there it is, than its Daddy-O. The SRK has about the same grind height, but it's going to be 0.19, so it's much broader on the grind. And so if you are looking for slicing capability, the compact version is the better tool. Slicing is better. For the type of combat utility knife that this is, if you were to say, hey man, go do a bunch of slicing, I'm going to choose the compact blade geometry over the original. The original is more for stabbing, prying. Sure, it can cut, but it's not my first choice, and that's the first reason on why I don't always use it. It's a great combat knife, but it's kind of a combat knife. And 90% of what I do, and probably for most of us, it's, you know, camping, backpacking, doing whatever it is that we're doing. And so the compact is definitely the better choice in the slicing, woodworking, and actual like cutting of material. Now, just a second, we're going to talk about this sheath and the change that was generated by user feedback and whether or not that is a win or a strikeout. But before we get to that, I want to thank the sponsor of today's video, which is ZOLEO and their satellite communication device. For almost 5 years now, I have been trusting ZOLEO and their SATCOM when I do day hikes, multi-day backpacking trips where there is no service for miles and miles, but also when my wife and I packed up our kids and we traveled for a year across America going through all sorts of different types of terrain, having the ability to do global two-way messaging, emails, and even messaging in the ZOLEO app just allowed for a level of peace of mind while we traveled, but also when I'm out, being able to touch base with my wife, let her know I'm okay, but also know if something's going wrong back at home and maybe I need to cut a multi-day trip short and come home early to deal with an emergency at home. It gives that level of connection. And then because it's using the Iridium satellite network, I can hit the SOS button and I know that immediately my GPS coordinates is going to first responders worldwide. I can message with them to let them know what the emergency is, and it gives a massive peace of mind. Instead of trying to chase satellites with some sort of smartphone hoping I can get a signal and hit an SOS button, it's one and done, and when you're in a high stress moment, that is key. And as an added bonus, through September 16th, ZOLEO is offering $50 off the device itself. And I have my standing, which works year-round, promo code, which will waive the activation fee, saving you a little extra scratch. So if you're watching this after the 16th, you can still use that promo code and it'll save a little bit more. So it's the perfect time with hunting season and winter sports right around the corner to get yourself a satellite communication device so you can stay connected and have that peace of mind on all of your adventures. Okay, how about to this sheath? Now, I have the OD green handle with matching sheath. Depending on handle color will determine the sheath color. Now, it's a Secure X sheath with the regular dangler, everything that we know. When I got it, the tension was extremely loose where I barely had to put it in, and I can shake the knife out. I can literally shake the knife for 5 seconds and it will come out of its sheath. And I actually messaged Midway and I was like, is this normal? Is it should be this way? Or did I just kind of get like a wonky sheath? They told me that apparently cold steel has changed the tension of the sheath based off of user feedback to be easier to deploy. So what does that mean? One, for me, I don't like it. I'm just gonna be honest. I way prefer the tension that is on my original SRK, right? The tension is there. It's not an issue for me. Maybe for some it is. If you carry this on your belt, just in a normal dangler format, it's totally fine. You're never gonna lose it. It's got the little handle snap, like all that. It's totally fine. You start running this upside down on a shoulder strap or like at some sort of canter, starts to become a problem and could absolutely fall out. I don't care for that. I would have preferred just to have the standard tension, but maybe I'm an outlier. So leave a comment below. What do you think about decision to have less tension around the handle, making it easier to deploy, but potentially having it fall out in certain angles under a lot of shaking and rattling? So that's the first thing. And you may be like, well, what the heck is this camo little sleeve? This thing is super sick. I discovered it at Blade Show from an American company. They're based in Tennessee, Full Tank Tactical. It's called the DIRK, and it's an adapter. With no hardware, you use shock cord and Kevlar, and it basically pancakes onto any type of sheath. So it's extremely modular, and then it has a back strap that you can either use in a dangle format with extra Velcro that you could wrap around the handle, again, keeping it in place, or run it through its slits, and then you can canter it any way you want, run it through PALS webbing. It's just a really cool adaptation. And to be clear, this is an aftermarket accessory. You buy it through Full Tank Tactical. It doesn't come with the Midway version of the 3V or anything like that, but I believe it will add a huge level of versatility to a lot of our fixed blades in different mounting options, and even adding other accessories to the front, like a secondary pouch for a sharpening kit or a multi-tool, things like that. Lots of versatility there. So there will be a link in the description if you want to go check out these Full Tank Tactical DIRK sheath adapters. Okay, let's button it up with the handle and how it stacks up to the original. Rubberized Kraton handle, very warm to the touch, very comfortable, everything we know, but it's thinner. So the overall knife is thinner. The stock thickness is thinner. This is thinner as well, with a maximum right here at the palm swell of 0.65, and the maximum on the palm swell of the original is 0.85. And so what does that mean? For quick cuts, general utility, making like 1 or 2 feather sticks really quick, and just like kind of spear points and stuff, no problem. But if you want full grip, if you have large or larger hands, mine is large with a 3 1/4 knuckle span right there, you notice that it's pretty narrow if you're doing long cutting tasks. If you're just cutting and cutting and cutting and carving and carving and carving, you're going to be wishing you had the girth of the original SRK. And this is why I don't necessarily talk about them or carry either of them that often. I'm gravitating more towards this than actually this now because of the CPM 3V, the 90-degree spine, and some of the other things that we've touched on. But if they put this girth of a handle of the original onto the compact, I think it would actually be like the perfect blade for how I usually use knives. And I'd be remiss if I didn't mention a knife that does kind of blend the best of both of these SRKs, the DEMKO FREEREIGN series. It sports a higher grind, but thicker stock, beefier handle, but is more compact than the original SRK. But you're gonna pay almost double to get those features, especially when you're looking at their USA-made Magna Cut, FREEREIGN, and the upcoming 3V variant that we'll actually be discussing in a future video next week, so stay tuned for that. So in conclusion, where do I sit with this SRK compact from Midway USA in 3V? Well, it is excellent value for a lightweight utility knife, and ideal actually for the places where I use blades a lot in the West, where you're hiking through tundra and then sporadic pine and aspen, and you're using your knife mainly for utility, not so much for bushcraft, but in a pinch you can do some woods working. You're getting excellent tough steel in a compact package, and Midway is doing that at a price point that is almost unbeatable. And so leave a comment below on what you guys think about this SRK compact, and especially if you have the 3V variant, how has it been performing for you? Do you like what it brings to the table? And do you feel like whatever compromises there may be in like thinner handle and different things like that is it easily overlooked because of what the blade brings to the table overall, and especially at this price point? Until next time, check out the other videos, subscribe, and always remember to stay equipped, stay prepared, and I'll see you out there.